Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your sources and unearth the most compelling insights. Today we're plunging into a story that really intertwines ambition, tragedy, and some pretty deep-seated ancient folklore, all around a major infrastructure project.
That's right. We're focusing on the construction of the Thai-Lao Friendship Bridge 2 in Mukdahan. And what makes this deep dive so fascinating, really, are the bizarre, unsettling events that seem to plague its development. It led many people to believe in a full-blown Naga curse. You've shared accounts that paint a really vivid picture of these perceived supernatural happenings, and we're here to dig into them.
Exactly. So our mission today is to navigate these really intriguing tales. We want to try and distinguish between, the natural and what was perceived as supernatural, and understand just how powerfully human beliefs and cultural narratives can shape how we interpret real-world events. It's a compelling look at how engineering, culture, and, well, fear can intersect.
Absolutely. It's not just about what happened, but how people made sense of it, you
Yeah.
know?
Okay, so let's unpack this. To really set the scene, we actually have to go back a bit, maybe 30, 40 years before bridge construction even started. There was this incident near the proposed bridge site, retold by the mother of the local Abbott's driver. She described this like romantic full moon night, seeing a small empty boat floating on the Mekong.
Right. And she and her relatives may be thinking, free boat, paddled towards it.
Uh-huh.
But here's where it gets weird. As they got closer, maybe just 10 meters away, this small boat suddenly dramatically expanded. It seemed to rise up in size right before their eyes. Naturally, it completely terrified them, sent them into a panicked retreat. They just abandoned any idea of claiming it. A really unsettling omen, wouldn't you say, even decades before the project started.
Definitely unsettling. And the strange sightings didn't stop there, did they? Fast forward closer to the actual construction period.
Yeah, the Abbott's driver himself, the son of the woman who saw the boat, he witnessed something pretty extraordinary, too. He saw some kind of unknown creature in the Mekong, described it as having a fish-like dorsal fin, swimming really strongly upstream from the Lao side towards the Thai side, right near the mouth of the Huai River.
Wow. And did they get a good look?
Well, he and his friend tried to get closer, but kind of like the mysterious boat, it just vanished. Disappeared before they could really identify it. So these early reports, you can imagine, they certainly created an uneasy atmosphere even before the main project really got underway.
And then construction officially kicked off in 2543 Buddhist era. And unfortunately, it seems that ominous tone.
Yeah.
It wasn't just coincidence, was it?
No, not at all. Because the misfortune started almost immediately. A really grim omen struck soon after construction began. A worker was found hanged in the newly built site office, which hadn't even been used yet. The cause was completely unknown, which, as you'd expect, led to immense fear among the staff.
Just terrible.
Yeah, the dread was so palpable, apparently, that the lead contractor ordered the complete demolition of the office. Donated all the materials, steel, tiles, everything to the Abbott's temple, Wat Sai Thong. Just wanted it gone.
And the tragedies didn't stop there.
No. Just 4 or 5 months later, another construction worker tragically fell to his death from scaffolding. You can really feel the tension building, can't you?
Absolutely. It's just one thing after another.
Exactly. And not long after that, yet another worker. He was working on building a central pillar right in the middle of the river. He just bent down to wash his face in the Mekong and inexplicably fell in and drowned. These events, understandably, caused widespread fear, disarray among the team. It created this strong sense that something was deeply, terribly wrong with the project.
Amidst all these strange events, one particular part of the bridge, Pile 11, really stands out, doesn't it? It seems to be a focal point for this whole curse narrative.
Yes, Pile 11. This is where the story gets really gripping, I think. Pile 11, located right out in the middle of the Mekong, proved uniquely problematic. Engineers struggled relentlessly. I mean, no matter how hard they tried, they simply couldn't drive the foundation pile in. Imagine trying to force this huge column through something you can't see, something unyielding.
Like hitting solid rock, but more mysterious.
Sort of, but the resistance was extreme. Drilling efforts also failed. They kept breaking drill bits. It was a complete mystery why this one specific spot was so incredibly difficult.
So in desperation, what did they do? I understand the Japanese engineers hired a dive mess.
They did. To retrieve a broken drill bit from the riverbed and, crucially, to investigate what was causing the obstruction. And what he reported back. Well, it sounds like something straight out of a horror story.
Oh.
The diver surfaced, visibly shaken, just terrified. He recounted seeing and these are his words apparently, many pairs of glowing red eyes and long green bodies circling the area down below.
Glowing red eyes, green bodies.
That's the account. He was so distraught that he refused his payment, fled the site immediately, and never came back. A truly chilling story, you have to admit.
That's chilling. You'd think that would give anyone pause, especially the engineers.
You would think. But despite this terrifying account, the Japanese engineers, maybe feeling pressure from deadlines, I don't know, they decided to pour concrete into the problematic pile anyway.
Did that work?
Well, this is where it gets even stranger. No matter how much concrete they poured, the pile just seemed to consume it endlessly. It required significantly more material than any other pillar before it finally filled up. It was as if something down there was just, I don't know, absorbing it, defying all the engineering calculations.
So the strange occurrences, the problems, they continued right up until a really tragic climax in 2005. Around Visakha Puja, right? One of the most sacred days in Buddhism.
That's right. And the night before, the site guard had a very unsettling dream.
Another omen.
It seemed like it. He dreamt of figures dressed in white who told him that the next day, which was Buddhist Lent, the traditional start of the rainy season retreat for monks, they, the figures, would be performing religious observances. And they requested a one-day work stoppage. Just halt work for that holy day.
How did the engineers react to that?
Well, the Japanese engineers apparently dismissed it, called it nonsense, and refused to halt operations. They pushed ahead.
And then on July 22, 2005, the very day of Buddhist Lent, something catastrophic happened.
Yes. 3 Japanese engineers, and this was unusual for them, decided they would personally inspect the placement of a bridge beam from a boat on the river.
They went out on the water themselves.
They did, and as a crane lifted a large concrete slab, lifting it towards the notoriously problematic Pile 11, it suddenly collapsed, catastrophically. The crane just broke into 3 pieces.
Oh, no.
The crane's massive sling swung wildly as it fell. It instantly cut a 45-year-old Japanese supervising engineer in half.
Horrific.
And the devastation continued. The collapsing crane itself plunged into the river, crushing and drowning 3 more Japanese engineers and 1 Filipino worker who were on that boat. And additionally, 4 Thai workers also drowned in the chaos. Their bodies were tragically never recovered.
So that's 8 people killed instantly.
8 lives lost in that single moment, with 7 others injured and hospitalized. It's hard to truly grasp the scale of that tragedy, the sheer terror that must have swept through everyone left on site.
I can only imagine.
And this horrific event, as you'd expect, became major news. It was across almost all the newspapers on July 22nd and 23rd, 2005. It really spread the chilling tale of the Naga curse far and wide.
In the wake of a disaster like that, the human responses must have been profound. What happened immediately after?
Well, all the construction companies involved immediately halted work, not just paused, but stopped to conduct merit-making ceremonies, which is a very significant cultural response to tragedy in Thailand.
A way to honor the dead and perhaps seek spiritual protection.
Exactly. And then on August 19th, 2005, almost a month later, 89 workers quietly ordained as monks for 7 days. This was seen as a way to dedicate merit to those who had died, but also, very much, to alleviate their own deep-seated fears of further supernatural incidents, particularly concerning the Naga.
And by this point, the death toll
Had tragically reached 17 lives since construction began. 17 people.
That level of loss, combined with the stories, the fear must have been overwhelming.
It was. So much so that most of the Thai-Azan and Lao workers refused to continue working on the bridge. They genuinely feared for their lives. Only foreign workers and those locals who didn't believe in the curse continued. It kept the project moving, but slowly. And notably, Pile 11 remained untouched after that crane disaster. Nobody went near it for a while.
So with the project basically stalled, fear gripping the workers, it seems natural people would look for answers, for hope, right?
Yeah.
Where did the local community turn?
Well, desperate for answers, maybe some solutions, some villagers consulted a spirit medium.
Okay, what did the medium say?
The medium advised building a Naga shrine near the construction site. The idea was this would invite the Nagas to actually assist with the bridge's completion, sort of appease them. The medium even foretold that a special Buddha statue called Frasuk, which is said to be the personal Buddha image of a Naga princess, kept in the underwater Naga realm, would surface from the river.
A prophecy. And did anything happen?
Amazingly, yes, or at least coincidentally. Around this time, a local fisherman discovered a bronze Buddha statue in the river. It measured about 35 centimeters at the base, 70 centimeters tall, Looked like Vientiane artistic style,
Yeah.
and it was immediately speculated that this was the prophesied Frasuk, though, its true origin was still being verified. Still a remarkable coincidence.
But the idea of building the Naga shrine itself, was everyone on board with that?
No, that actually caused further division within the community. Some villagers supported it, believing, yes, it would appease the Nagas and ensure smooth construction, but others opposed it. They feared that if the shrine wasn't done correctly, if the rituals weren't perfect, it might actually anger the Nagas even further, make things worse.
So, a difficult situation. What happened in the end?
Ultimately, no action was taken. The shrine wasn't built. The division couldn't be resolved.
Okay, so we've heard the community's search for answers, their interpretations, the fear, the legends, the tragedies. But our deep dive into the source material offers another layer, doesn't it? Explanations trying to separate perception from, well, maybe a more mundane reality.
Exactly. The source provides alternative, often scientific or philosophical viewpoints for many of these events.
Right, let's start with that first omen, the mysterious boat that expanded and rose. How does the source explain that?
The source clarifies that the boat seeming to grow in size was likely an optical illusion, which, when you think about it, makes sense. You've got the darkness of night, the fast-flowing river distorting perspective, and crucially, pre-existing superstitious beliefs priming them to see something unusual.
Ah, so expectation played a role.
Probably. And the source makes a good point. If it were truly a malevolent entity, why lure them closer first? Why not just scare them off immediately? It suggests our minds interpreting ambiguous visual cues, especially when we're already thinking about spirits or legends.
Okay, that makes sense. What about the river creature the driver saw, the one with the fin? Was that a Naga?
According to the source, no. It was simply identified later as a large fish. Again, a prime example of how an unexplained sighting can quickly get filtered through the lens of powerful local legends, even if a more mundane explanation fits.
Right. Now, this is a big one. The fatalities. The suicide, the fall, the drowning. The source doesn't attribute these to a curse, but to something else entirely, doesn't it?
Yes, it attributes each death to the individual's personal karma. That's a really profound perspective, shifting responsibility from an external force to internal destiny in a way.
Can you elaborate on that? What does karma mean in this context?
Well, from this worldview, it's believed that actions, maybe from past lives, or even within this life, things like alcohol abuse, killing animals, maybe even violence in a previous existence, create karmic consequences. These consequences are thought to manifest as destiny, determining the time and place of death, independent of external curses. It's a way of finding meaning, perhaps, in what seems like random tragedy.
So the accidents weren't random, nor caused by Nagas, but tied to individual destiny.
According to this source, yes. It also mentions that some spirits of the deceased might remain wandering near the site due to their karma, while others moved on to Yumalak, the realm of Yama, the god of death in Buddhist cosmology.
Okay. And what about the persistent problems with Pile 11, the resistance, the concrete? Was that supernatural?
The source explains that as a practical, though difficult, engineering challenge. It suggests Pile 11 simply hit a particularly hard rock layer deep below the riverbed, and it was just deeper there than where the other piles were located. So what felt like supernatural resistance was, in this view, a classic engineering battle against geology, a tough spot to build.
Which explains why it took so much concrete, too, if the cavity was deeper or wider than expected.
Exactly. It turns a supernatural mystery into a complex but understandable technical problem. It shows how easily such challenges can be interpreted through folklore.
But what about the dive master? His terrifying account of glowing red eyes and long green bodies, that seems hard to explain away.
The source addresses that directly. It dismisses that account as storytelling, or tamida, as it's called, basically an embellished tale, maybe rooted in the diver's fear or misinterpretation in the murky water that got passed around and likely grew with each telling. Hearsay.
So more legend building than factual report.
That's the source's interpretation. It highlights the power of narrative, how a genuinely harrowing experience can morph into a legend, amplifying the underlying fear.
And the guard's dream. The Naga is asking for a day off for Buddhist Lent.
The source sees that not as a genuine supernatural warning, but more as a manifestation of the guard's own subconscious desire. Maybe he desperately wanted a break from the intense, stressful work schedule, and his mind projected that desire onto the Nagas, framing it as a sacred request. It's a psychological insight, really, into how our own needs can shape our dreams and interpretations.
Okay, and finally, the most tragic event. The crane collapse on Buddhist Lent. The source's explanation.
It's stated very explicitly, due to the individual karma of those involved and a current accident. A terrible industrial accident compounded by the karmic circumstances of those who died, but with, and the source is firm on this, no connection with Nagas whatsoever.
It's fascinating how the source offers this completely different lens. And it also provides some insights into the Naga's true nature, according to this specific viewpoint, which really challenges the whole curse idea.
It really does. The source acknowledges Nagas might exist in the area, but thinks they are few in number. It clarifies that this particular group of Nagas, they wouldn't have witnessed the Buddha's famous descent from Tavatimsa heaven as they were born much later. But they are aware of important Buddhist dates, like Buddhist Lent, through stories passed down from older Nagas. But crucially,
They don't interfere.
exactly, the source insists these Nagas do not interfere with, harass, or harm humans or the construction workers. They keep to themselves. They are depicted as having their own spiritual lives.
So the idea of them actively causing accidents is just fundamentally wrong from this perspective.
Completely at odds with it. The source emphasizes that these Nagas actually gather during Buddhist Lent to hear spiritual teachings. And some, because of their past human lives filled with devotion, might even choose to ordain for the rainy season, much like human monks do. It paints them as spiritual beings focused on their own path, not as vengeful monsters attacking a bridge project.
What about the bang fei, fireballs often associated with Nagas in that region?
Ah, good point. While Nagas are linked to that phenomenon, the source notes it's not really prevalent right at this specific bridge location. It's more common elsewhere, like at... And importantly, when Nagas do emit fireballs, the intention described here is purely spiritual. It's an act of recalling the Buddha, offering reverence, not some display for humans. They generally prefer not to be seen by humans unless absolutely necessary or on a special occasion.
So again, a very different picture from the curse narrative. And finally, how does the source view the spirit medium's advice and the Buddhist statue that was found?
It presents those events, the medium's counsel to build a shrine, the fisherman's discovery as reflections of personal beliefs and local traditions. Part of the human search for meaning and ways to cope when faced with tragedy and uncertainty. And the found Buddha statue. It's confirmed by the source as likely being just a Buddha statue that fell into the water at some point, not the mythical frasuk from the underwater Naga realm. So, looking at all this, it really raises an important question for you, for all of us to ponder. How does this deep dive into the bridge's troubled construction reveal that powerful human need we have to attribute meaning to tragedy and the unexplained? What does it tell us about the delicate balance between natural phenomena, human error, tragic accidents, and the deep-seated cultural beliefs that shape our understanding of the world around us, even when we're presented with logical, perhaps more mundane explanations?